Welcome everyone this evening to our Road to Success Wednesday night event. Our topic tonight is going to be on reflections, and our presenter is going to be our Reflections Chairman from Florida PTA, Jenny Moon. Committee members is Karen Spandler, and I don't believe she's on the call. She was on earlier. At this time, I will turn it over to Madam President Carolyn for her remarks. Thank you, Carolyn.
Thanks, Lisa. Good evening, everyone. And welcome, as Lisa said, to this week's edition of Road to Success, where we'll be talking about reflections. The theme is I am hopeful because it goes right along with what I am hopeful about. I'm hopeful that you will get some really good information tonight that you will share with others who weren't able to join us. I'm also hopeful that you will continue the good work that you are doing on behalf of Florida PTA, the children of Florida, and the families with whom we connect. I'd like to take a moment and introduce the members of the Executive Committee and Board of Directors who have chosen to join us this evening. I'll do this in the order that I see you on my screen, so I'll try not to miss anybody. If I miss someone, please shout out so that I can recognize you. The first person I see is our Secretary, Melanie Williams.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to those who are returning. Good job. Thank you.
Thanks, Melanie. Next, we have Karen Mazzola, Vice President for Educational Development.
Welcome, everyone. You're in for a treat. And of course, thank you for the gift that you give us by doing reflections at your local units. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Next up, we have Vice President for Leadership Development, Lawrence Claremont.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Kay Hawkins is one of our region representatives.
Good evening, everyone.
Bert Miller is the Vice President for Regions and Council.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here with us tonight.
Melanie Gamble is our Media and Marketing Chair.
Good evening, everybody. Good to see everybody.
Thank you. And I think I've touched on all of the members of our Executive Committee and Board of Directors. Thanks again for being here. Enjoy. And I'm going to pass it to Jenny.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Reflections. My name is Jenny Moon. I am in my second year as a Reflections Chair for Florida State PTA. So we'll get started with our presentation. We're going to touch upon some very important details in regards to the program. So we'll get started and we will start off our presentation with our, I'm going to wait just a moment. Oh, and in the meantime, as that's coming up, if I may ask to please hold all your questions till the end of the presentation, and we will monitor the chat throughout the presentation and answer all the questions at the end. So with that said, our PTA's mission to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. And I feel that our program, our Reflections program, really helps with this mission. By involving all our students and our families and all of our community members to really carry out this program. And to kick us off, a couple of four fun facts about Reflections from National PTA. First, it was founded in 1969, and PTA Reflections is known as our oldest and largest national student recognition program in the arts. The program also encourages children to reflect on a common theme and create original artwork in literature, visual, and performing arts. And each year, PTA engages over 300,000 students and their families in art education. And participation in art programs like the PTA Reflection plays a critical role in student success by leveling playfields and developing students holistically. And moreover, PTA Reflections has been a valuable tool for strengthening school and community partnerships. And for the next portion of our presentation, this is a quick overview for our local and council reflection chairs and their duties. The PTA Reflections program is now offered via a digital format. The general tasks for local units and council reflection leaders include registering your PTA's participation in this year's program with National PTA. And that link can be found on our Florida PTA website, as well as the National PTA website under Reflections. Distributing program materials and recruiting volunteer judges. And of course, we always say earlier the better. Collecting entries and coordinating judging, advancing top entries to the next level of judging, and celebrating and recognizing our students after the program has been completed. And this part is one of my favorite parts about Reflections. And a lot of people are not aware of it, but it is a big part of Reflections. It is our theme search contest. So essentially inspires hundreds of thousands of students, artists each year. And the Reflections program theme is chosen each year from hundreds of suggestions submitted by students across the country. Students at schools with a PTA in Florida, and even if the PTA doesn't participate in the Reflections program, they can submit their suggested themes. And the themes are submitted to Florida PTA via email, and the deadline for that is November 1st. The Reflections Committee then selects the top 5 entries to be advanced to the National PTA, and that's done in the early part of December. And one national winner is selected by the National PTA in February, and the winning student receives a $100 award in national recognition. And in order to find the entry form, you can visit our Reflections page for Florida PTA, and all the guidelines and the entry form is all listed on our website. And of course, this year's theme is I am hopeful because. And before we get into the details of the steps for the program, this is a quick overview of schedules and deadlines. Local units need to start their Reflections program in September in order to stay in sync with the deadlines required for the various levels of judging. Now, this is just a suggestion, so a lot of local units may start a little bit later or may start even based on their county deadlines. So for local units specifically in the top portions, set your submission deadlines in keeping with your county councils or region reps deadline. So it's a quick little sample schedule underneath that. From mid-October to mid-November, you'll be reviewing your entries and completing local judging. And for mid-November, deadline to advance your winning entries to your next level. And again, this is based on everybody's county council or region reps deadlines. Units in council advance to council Reflections chairs, and units not in a council advance to region Reflections chair. And for the next portion is for our county councils. By mid-December to mid-January, county and region judging should occur. And January 12th, very important date, January 12th of 2024, Reflections entries are due to the state PTA, which is us, Florida PTA, through the National PTA Student Entry Portal. And that indicates that we will be changing our submission, digital submission platform from Dropbox to National PTA Student Entry Portal. And we will be sending out the links. It is a very easy process. And so we hope that this will alleviate some of the Dropbox issues that may have occurred. For the next portion, state PTA, by March 1st, the entries that won at state level will be advanced to National PTA portal. And by early March, state winners will be announced and invited to the state ceremony. And May 4th is slotted for our state ceremony, and details are to be determined. And for National PTA, by May 1st, National PTA Reflections winners will be announced and shared across all different platforms. Now, going into the details of running the Reflections program. So step 1, register, connect, and recruit. So first thing that we encourage every local unit to do is to register their PTA with National PTA Reflections program. And there is a link on pta.org, or you can go into our Florida PTA under Reflections to register your local unit. So this is for individual school PTAs or PTSAs. Make sure your PTA is registered and participating in reflections with the state office. That indicates registering with the Florida PTA so that we have your contact information and we'll be able to share important information in via email. Visit the reflections page on the Florida PTA website to get all the details for our program. So this is very important because it includes all of the digital fillable student entry forms, guidelines and instructions that have been relayed to us from National PTA. And of course, kick off your program by celebrating, and underneath, it's just a quick little example, National Arts and Humanities Month for October. But of course, you can utilize different events and different specials depending on when you launch your program. And of course, recruiting volunteers for your reflections committee and delegating tasks. Very important and crucial to the program. Delegating tasks such as promoting your program, coordinating judging, and hosting the celebration events for all of our students participating in the program. Step 2, customize and distribute. This is a part, I think it's a very fun part that you can essentially customize the program that fits to your specific school. So you decide how you want to accept your entries. Dance, music, and film are always digital files. What that means is that if you choose to accept submissions in person or in a digital platform, this may vary for your specific unit. Editing program materials to include available art categories for participation. And I want to touch on that real quick. The program offers 6 different categories, but you are not required to offer all 6 at your local unit. Program deadlines, very important, and directions for submitting entries, very important as well. Sharing that information with your families and your students so that all of our entries can be submitted correctly. And distribute to program participants, student entry forms, whether you're using an online Google form or paper form, or perhaps a different platform. And of course, sharing the rules and instructions pertaining to the program. You can also include additional information in the student materials, such as contact information for your reflection chairs, so that if they have important questions, they'll be able to contact you. Submission instructions, such as whether you're doing it in person or if it's a digital platform, and additional rules for student eligibility. And again, this will pertain to your local unit. And here is one of the most important parts about the submission is the entry form. So first and foremost, the local units must be in compliance in order to participate in reflections. So please make sure to check with your local unit president or your board to make sure that you are in compliance. The first section on the top is a local unit reflection chairs must complete all fields in the PTA box, meaning that, of course, ideally before copying, which means before distributing it to your students and families. It's all the information that pertains to your local unit. And the next section is the student information section, which is to be filled out by either the student or their parent or guardian. And please make sure that this section, before moving on to the next round of judging or the next stage, that it is filled out correctly with and that it's legible. The next section, student and parent signatures. This part, electronic signatures are allowed. And that pertains to if you're doing a digital entry form. Submission and category and division. So this part is the part that I mentioned in the previous slide where you don't have to, and you're not required to offer all 6 categories. So this is a part that you'll be able to edit. All the forms, again, have been provided as a fillable and editable file. So you'll be able to go in there and perhaps you're going to only offer visual arts. Then you can go ahead and omit the other categories to avoid perhaps any confusion. Or you can only offer 2 or 3, whatever your local unit decides on. And for the grade division, primary includes pre-K through grade 2. Intermediate is grade 3 to 5. Middle is 6 to 8. High school is 9 to 12. And we also offer the special artist category, which is for all grades. The next section is the title and details of submission. So the title is required, so please make sure to double check that. And the detail portion may include items such as word count if they're submitting a literature piece, or if they're doing a music film production or a dance choreography category, they may cite their music on there. And again, this is all included in the guidelines and the instructions. And the last portion is the artist statement, and this is also required in order for the submission to be entered correctly. And the artist statement must be filled out by the student. So that means perhaps we may have a pre-K student that may not be able to write quite yet. Parents are allowed to dictate what they write, but the words that are used for the statement must come from the student. And the step 3 for coordinating judging. So for this part of the reflections program, you can tap into your community around you when recruiting judges and consider the following potential community members. So when you're recruiting your judges, you can perhaps reach out to your administrators, local art professionals like art teachers or local artists or art business people that may be in your community. And that could also serve as a special celebrity judge. Former judges or reflections advocates, students and art professors from local colleges and universities, and perhaps former state level reflections winners and recent graduates as well. So you can pretty much reach out to anyone in your community that have a special love for arts. And this is really quite a perfect opportunity to connect with, perhaps you may have some business partners at your local unit. And we'll be going into our individual category and grade divisions, but a quick overview. As I mentioned before, the 6 categories are, and the 6 categories include dance choreography, film, literature, music composition, photography, and visual arts. And the grade divisions are listed right under there for primary, pre-K through 2nd, intermediate, 3 to 5, middle, grade 6 to 8, and high school 9 to 12. And the key points here are that all entries must be an original creation done by a single student for this year's reflections theme. And for photo and film entries, the students can be in the entry only if a timer or a tripod is used. And for our specific categories, first we have our dance choreography. Solo and ensemble works of all dance styles are accepted. Entrant must be the choreographer, but may also be the performer or one of the performers. If background music is used, please cite it on the entry form. And for the video, file must not exceed 5 minutes and 10,000 MB in size, and accepted formats are AVI and MP4. Film production. So for film production, the accepted short film styles include animation, narrative, documentary, experimental, or media presentation. All screenwriting and directing and editing must be done by the student producer. And if background music is used, please cite it on the entry form. And as I mentioned before, under the detail section. And for the video must not exceed 5 minutes. File must not exceed 1,000 MB in size. Accepted formats include AVI and MP4. And the most common question we get for this category is, are PowerPoints allowed? And unfortunately, it is prohibited. For our literature category, accepted forms of fiction or nonfictions include prose, poetry, reflective essay, screenplay, and play script, narrative, and short story. Entrants may write in their primary language if an interpretive English translation is also attached. This means that if they are filling it out in Spanish, we will also need it translated in English. Use of copyrighted material is prohibited. For the writing section, the detail portion on the entry form, it must not exceed 2,000 words. Must include word count on the application form, maybe handwritten or typed, single-sided print on 8.5 by 11 paper, and the file format is PDF. For our music composition category, All music styles and combinations of instrumentation are accepted. The entrant must be the composer and may also be the performer or one of the performers. Use of copyright material is again prohibited. And for the audio file, the file must not exceed 5 minutes and 1000 MB in size. And the accepted formats are MP3 and WAV. And for the notation, and again, this is another one that we get that is a very common question. For the notation, it's only required for middle and high school divisions. And in place of a notated score, a written reflective statement can also be used that explains the musically technical explanation of the piece that was composed and must be 100 words or less. And notations may be submitted in a PDF format. For photography, so photos must be a single print or digital image. Collages and collections of photos are not accepted. Entrant must be the photographer and may use a variety of digital editing techniques, including but not limited to multiple exposure, negative sandwich, and photogram. And for the print, it must be no smaller than 5x7 and no larger than 8x10. Mounted on a mat or a poster board, no larger than 11x14. Frame prints are not accepted, and it must include one digital image of the artwork with the submission. And the accepted file format for that is JPEG, JPG, and PNG. And for the digital image, dimensions must be at least 640 by 960 pixels and 300 DPI. The accepted file format for this, and again, it's JPEG, JPG, and PNG. And for our visual arts category, both works of both fine and design arts are accepted, including but not limited to architectural drawing and models, ceramics, collage, computer-generated images and graphics, crafts, drawing, fashion clothes and jewelry, fiber work, mixed media, painting, printmaking, and sculptures. And then to break that down for 2D works, it must be mounted on a sturdy material, no larger than 12x16 with matting. Frame entries are not accepted, and it must include one digital image of artwork with your submission. And the accepted file formats are JPEG, JPG, and PNG. For 3D works, no larger than 12x12x12, and it must include 3 digital images of the artwork with different angles. Accepted file format is again JPEG, JPG, and PNG. And if you are working on accepting all of your entries as a digital format, of course, all of them will have to include a picture of their artwork. And for our special artist divisions, this division or category, I should say, are for students who identify as having a disability and receive services under IDEA, ADA, or have an IEP. Under Section 504 may enter in the special artist division or grade division that most closely aligned to their functional abilities. This special artist division welcomes students from all grades and offers non-artistic accommodations for students to fully participate in the PTA reflections. And as for the accommodations, they are allotted. Non-artistic accommodations, such as having someone help them with the adaptive technology, transcribing, or holding a camera. Assistants that are helping with the accommodations must refrain from being involved in the artistic process. So, for example, developing the artist statement, the choreography, music, lyrics, storyboards, and so on. And step 4, which is my favorite step of the program, is advancing and celebrating your students. So first off, assigning awards by art categories and grade division, advancing finalists to the next level according to the state PTA guidelines and deadlines. And just a reminder, the Florida State PTA deadline is January 12th of 2024. Counties are to send their top 3 entries in each category division to the state. And this part, of course, is the funnest part, is celebrating your students. So regardless of advancing or not, announcing your winners to your school websites and social media, and tagging them with National PTA, at Florida PTA, and at Florida PTA Reflections, offering awards from shoppta.com and donated prizes from the community supporters. And this again depends on the availability and what your local unit or your county is planning on doing. But Shop PTA has an excellent array of ribbons, trophies, and of course certificates too. Those are a great option to distribute to all of your students. Hosting a student recognition event for families, and again, celebrating your students and inviting everyone that participated in the program, and showcasing your student works at school and in the community. A lot of local units utilize their media center, and for perhaps county councils. And again, I'll use my county council as an example. We're planning on utilizing a mall in our city, and we'll be displaying everyone's artwork for a duration of 1 week for everyone to come and check out all of our wonderful students' artwork. And of course, don't forget to wrap up. This is also a very important part of the program. Make sure to thank students and parent leaders, school personnel, judges, community businesses for their support. Return non-advancing physical artwork. And again, if you're accepting them in person, please make sure that the students receive their artworks back, and contact students who are advancing in the competition. Host a debrief with your volunteer committees, and this is a great opportunity to discuss perhaps what may have worked or what may need improvement, and recording notes and contacts for next year's reflections chairs. And this is essential into making your program even bigger and better the following year, so that everyone can see all the pros and cons and just improve upon what you've already established for your program. And we would like to take this opportunity to do a big shout out and congratulations to our last year's national PTA winners. So from our advancing entries from our state, as you can see on your screen, our award of excellence went to Arna Patel from Orange County. And these are all our national PTA winners. And an award of merit went to Alexa Willis from Duval County, Cecilia Rice from Seminole County, Haven Parker from Escambia County, Sabhitha Rajeshkar from Duval County, and Annalise Bloomberg from Orange County. And this is a major, big, huge accomplishment for all of our students to make it all the way to nationals, and of course, become the winners as well. And before we move on, just in case, wanted to share this information. If you ever get a chance to visit our state office, in Orlando, we have an amazing reflections gallery in the office. So it'd be awesome if you can visit our office and check it out, and check out our wall of all of our amazing student artists and all of their reflections artwork. And at this time, I would like to perhaps, if Ms. Spangler is on, or Ms. Williams, if there were any questions in the chat that we may be able to answer.
And Jenny Colleen is also joined. She's part of the
Oh.
Reflections Committee. So we
Love
have
it.
her as with us tonight as well.
Excellent. So if anybody has any questions that we'd be able to answer for you pertaining to this, the program, this would be a wonderful opportunity.
Do you want us to put them in the chat, or can we go ahead and ask?
You can go either way, works for us.
Okay. I was just wondering, in Duval County, if the county deadline is November 28th, what should our school deadline be?
So we always say, as best practice and kind of a rule of thumb, if you can give yourself at least 2 weeks prior to your county deadline. And
Mhm.
again, this depends on how big your committee is, how much time you have, because you're going to have to hold your judging prior to your county deadline. So 2 weeks is really the tight squeeze. The more time you have, of course, the better. And it really depends on that. But yes, we would recommend minimum 2 weeks.
Okay. And when we make the decisions for the work that wins out of our school, do we just send that to the county, or how do we upload it or forward it?
Yes. So each county is utilizing different platforms and different ways of accepting the advancing entry forms. So you'll have to reach out to Duval County Reflections Chair and see if they're doing digital, in person, or perhaps they may be doing both. And again, this pertains to each particular county. So I believe for the most part, they're all offering digital platforms, but some are also offering in person as well.
Okay,
Duval's offering digital.
digital. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
So does that mean we just need to email it in different file formats and
Yes,
send it to you by
contact-
November?
Contact reflections@dccpta.org. Jennifer
Okay.
Gubat is our chair and she will be able to help you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. This is from Sanders PTA. My question is, how do we know when students advance? So let's say, they advance obviously from the school level and then they advance to the county. Is that an email communication, or how do we know that way we can communicate with those families?
So are we, just a quick question, are you speaking on behalf of your school or county?
So beyond the county, so let's say they, go ahead and they're going to go to, would it be the state or nationals, like the next level of,
Okay, I got the question.
how would we get notified at the school to be able
Yeah.
to notify those families or those students?
Absolutely. So I'm going to just speak on behalf of Florida PTA. We will communicate all of that information to you via email. It will all come to your reflections shares for them to be able to share with their families. So that will come via email.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
I have a question. Excuse
Mhm.
me.
Yes.
This is my first year helping to run this, so we're kind of figuring it out. When at the local school level, the first round of judging, is that done however we can make it happen? Are there certain requirements for where it has to take place? Like, does it need to be on the school campus, or can we go to, say, like a local library? And what other kind of rules or requirements surround that first level of judging?
Absolutely. We get this question quite a bit. So based on your local unit, you can hold it. There are no requirements where it needs to be held. So some people do digital online judging. So they'll put it on a Dropbox and they'll share that information with the judges so that the judges can utilize at their own time, be able to log on and judge that way. You can do it. You can hold it on campus. You can hold it off campus. There are no rules and regulations in terms of location. Or the method. So you can do it in person or you can do it digitally as well. And in terms of guidelines, there is a set guideline and a scorecard that National PTA shares. And we also share that with everyone as well. So if you, your county council should also have it on their page. If not, you can always visit floridapta.org under reflections, and we have it on there. It's a packet, and it gives you all the rules for local leaders. And that form or that packet of guidelines should be titled for local leaders, and it'll give you the sample scorecard that is also editable and fillable. So you can change, put your school name on it and your dates of when you're going to be holding your judging. All of that comes in the packet. So that, in terms of how to judge, that is a set of rules that everybody follows. And again, it's like categorized, originality, creative, the context, all of that is already all set and it's in the packet. So you can visit the website, you can reach out to your county council, but it is a set form.
Great, thank you.
Jenny, we have Karen that raised her
Absolutely.
hand.
Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to, when our county did a display similar to yours, you did yours at the mall, we did ours at a museum, and we just allowed our judges to come in at will during that 1 week period and do their judging that way. And then they weren't tied to a certain time.
That is a very, very good option. If I may just give my local units example, just to give you some ideas. We have all of our artwork set up in our media center. So again, we gave them, a week from Monday to Friday. They can come in at any point. We have all of our scorecards, our little instructions for the judges already printed, like on a clipboard. So when they come in, our media specialist just hands them that. They walk around, they do the judging. We just don't want it to limit them and give them like a very short time frame, because they are volunteering and everybody has different schedules. So we give them a little bit of more time and leisure to come on in and do it that way. And I do know a lot of schools, especially now and recently, are offering it digitally. So they're uploading everything onto a Dropbox. They're giving access to the judges to go onto the Dropbox. When you're doing it that way, please make sure that it is anonymous, that we are making sure that only the artwork and only the artist's statement is visible to the judges. And you can categorize it by numbering it or, whatever method works for you. But yes, that is kind of important that it is anonymous if you're doing it digitally, that they don't see the entire entry form.
Jenny, we have a few questions in chat.
Sure.
The first one's from Julie that I see is, how can we confirm our school is registered? Karen did put the Reflections on National PTA website link in there, but can you explain further on the confirmation of school, how the school is registered?
Absolutely. So when you register your school with National PTA, unfortunately, they do not send out a confirmation email. So one very good way of figuring out if your school is registered is if you go on to the PTA, and again, the link is right there onto the National PTA's website under Reflections. They have a little, and it's kind of hard to see because it's sandwiched in a really big paragraph with lots of words, but it's identified in red, bold red, and it says running list. So if you click on that, you'll be able to see, and this is for, it's a public link. It's for everyone to see, and you can double check to see if your school's on there. But I must give you a warning that it is a list that includes the entire nation. So it's very long. If you are tech savvy, you can even download it because it is an Excel spreadsheet, and you can go to the top part and you can just look up Florida. If you type in F, it'll just give you Florida. Well, is there another state with F? No, but you can do that way too. But you'll be able to see if your school's on there. I see in the chat, the next question is, do we submit submissions to the state, or will our county submit when they decide who advances? Excellent question. Again, another common question. As a local chair, once you advance to your county, you are just sitting and you're waiting, and the county will advance it to the state, and the state will advance it to national. So to answer your question, once you submit to your county, you're good. You just have to wait, and the county will be handling all the advancement to the state. The next question on there, it says local unit here. What do we forward to the next level? One in each category. Great question. You will be advancing your top 3 in each category, but also in each grade division. So it's not just 3 from visual arts. It's 3 from primary, 3 from intermediate, 3 from, I guess for elementary that would apply. But if you're a middle, then yes. So your top 3.
Jenny, we have another question. Is there a separate registration for state and national?
Yes, there is. For the national one, again, the link is in the National PTA website under Reflections, and it's a big link. It says, please register, and you just click on that. We also have it in our Florida PTA Reflections page. For the state, we did share with everyone a link to complete a doc form so that we can continue to communicate with everyone pertaining to important deadlines and information. So yes, it is a separate registration. Essentially, we just want to be able to make sure we collect all of our Reflections chairs information.
And Jenny, this question came up earlier in today. What if our unit does not participate in the Reflections program? How can we go about submitting?
Yeah, absolutely. And if your unit does not participate in Reflections, the recommendation from National PTA is to reach out to the nearest local PTA in your community. So perhaps, a school down the road from yours, you can reach out to their PTA and see if they're running the program. And if so, then you can submit it through their PTA. If you are having a hard time of finding a PTA around your area, or you just there isn't any available, you can also submit through Sunshine State. And that information is also on our Florida PTA Reflections page. And you can email and communicate with Sunshine State PTSA. And it's in the chat. So you can email them and reach out to them for their guidelines and deadlines. Any other questions that we may be able to answer?
Yes, there is one asking for the state registration. Just to be clear, you're expecting local units to register with the state as well as county councils?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Now, if the local unit is registering with the county council, that will depend on your county council. And I'm just going to use my county in Hillsborough County. We sent out a link to all of our local units and shared a link with them to register. But there may be counties that don't require it. And again, this is pertaining to individual counties. But so for local unit, you're registering nationally. And then you are going to reach out to your county, or if you don't have a county, your region, and register with them that way, if they have that requirement.
So where do we get the link to register with the state? That's the question.
Oh, for the
put it in the
state.
chat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
That
put
link
it in
is-
the chat, Jenny.
No,
Oh,
Karen,
wonderful. Thank you.
that takes
Uh,
the PTA.
Karen,
Mhm,
when I click that, it just takes you to Florida
national
Reflections,
mhm.
and then
And
you
if-
click and you hit national.
Right, that's what I'm asking. I checked it, so.
Oh, yes. Well, for our Florida, okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question. So Florida PTA, we sent out a link to, yes, and we emailed that link out. Okay, so I get the question now. I'm sorry. We emailed that link out to our county councils to share. So that came in that platform. It's not on the website. So if you would like, we can resend out that registration link. It is a doc form. It's very simple. It just really asks for name of your Reflections chair, contact information, just so that we know that you're participating and we'll be able to communicate.
Excellent, thank you. Please resend.
Any further questions, perhaps in the chat or?
And just to clarify one other thing, Jenny, there was another question asking how many winners they should advance to their county council. We don't determine that. Your county council will tell you how many winners they want. We're only telling you what Florida PTA expect from the county councils, just to make that clear.
Precisely. But for the general rule of thumb, what I've, the average, if I may say, is usually the top 3. And I know this may get, there's different levels. Everybody's coming in from either a local, a county. So a lot of these rules, may not pertain to you or may only specifically pertain to you. So I always recommend that if you're a local unit, make sure you directly communicate with your county council. And if you are from county council, then you will be reaching out to us, Florida PTA, for further information.
Jenny, we have a question in the chat. At the local level, do we set up the student portal for advancing the entry beyond county?
No, for the student portal, the national portal that we are using, it is for the county councils. For local units, you'll be utilizing what your county council would like for you to do. So if you're, not everybody is utilizing the national PTA portal, so that will depend on your county. But for us, for state, that's what we'll be utilizing for counties to advance to us, to state. So from local, it could range anywhere from just email or drop off the entry form at a physical location. Perhaps they have a Google form that's set up that you'll be completing. I do know that from speaking to many of the local unit leaders, a lot of them are turning to Google Doc forms. Again, this really depends on what your county council's platform that they'll be utilizing this year. Okay, any other questions? I really hope that we're able to clarify all of your answers tonight. Okay, if there are no further questions, I would like to turn it back to Miss Williams.
Thank you, Jenny. Job well
Thank you so
done.
much.
Excellent presentation. Thank you all for joining us this evening, and thank you to the programs team, Reflections in particular. We did mention that Colleen Morgan is on as a member of the Reflections Committee, working with Jenny. So we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday here again at noon, Karen, and at 7 for an education road to success. In addition, please legislative convention registration is open. Make sure you send a couple of your board members to Tallahassee to join us. And also our leadership convention is coming up next year. You'll get more information on registration for that one. And also nominations are open for Florida PTA Executive Committee. So check your emails. If you're not getting emails from Florida PTA, please reach out to the state office and we'll make sure, or any one of us, and we'll make sure you get those emails. All right, thank you so much. We are really, really glad that you were able to spend some time with us, and we encourage all of you, please present this program to your students. This is a great program that we can offer to our students. So make sure you get that out somehow. Thank you all and have a good evening.
Good night.
Have a great evening.
Good night.
Thank you.
Night.
Let's level all.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure that I'm staying on.
Yes, you are.
I'm sorry for my quick exit earlier. I thought I was supposed to leave.
She went to get the cat. That's what she did.
Yes, my Karen the cat.
The cat has gotten famous. It's on the recording. Oh, I should stop the recording. No, I'm famous.